Would you risk everything for a relationship that both excites and terrifies you? If someone offered to completely change your world, but with rules you've never lived by, would you say yes? Where do you draw the line between passion and control? Welcome back to Reader's Mind, where we tear apart the books that shaped our world. This is the book that sold 150 million copies, sparked global debates, and became the fastest-selling paperback of all time. 50 Shades of Grey. I want you to imagine the year 2012, middle-aged women clutching mysterious grey paperbacks whispering about that book. But here's the absolutely insane part. It started as Twilight fan fiction. E.L. James took Edward and Bella, removed the vampires, added explicit BDSM, and accidentally created the most controversial romance of the century. This isn't just about a book. This is about a cultural phenomenon that revealed uncomfortable truths about female desire, shattered publishing assumptions, and divided feminists worldwide. Whether you loved it, hated it, or secretly devoured it, 50 Shades changed everything. Today we're dissecting why this book became a global obsession that critics called everything from empowering to dangerous. We'll explore why women lined up to buy it, how fan fiction conquered traditional publishing, and whether the massive backlash was justified or just literary snobbery. By the end, you'll understand why 50 Shades isn't just romance. It's a mirror reflecting society's complex relationship with female sexuality and power, and what it reveals will shock you. Part 1. The setup that changed everything. Chapter 1-5. The story opens with what feels like a completely different universe from what you'd expect. We meet Anastasia Steele, a 21-year-old English literature student who's never been drunk, never been kissed, and definitely never been laid. She's interviewing mysterious 27-year-old billionaire Christian Grey for her roommate's student newspaper. But here's where James hooks you immediately. This isn't your typical meet-cute. There's electricity, danger, and an undercurrent of something darker. Christian Grey isn't just wealthy, he's controlling, intense, and clearly hiding massive secrets. When Anna literally falls into his office, stumbling over her own feet, you know this innocent girl is about to be consumed by forces she can't possibly understand. The genius of these opening chapters is how James builds the power dynamic that will define everything. Christian has all the advantages: age, experience, wealth, confidence. Anna has none of these, but she has something that absolutely captivates him: genuine innocence in a world where he's surrounded by people who want something from him. Chapter 3 is where the stakes explode. Christian saves Anna from a drunk driver, and suddenly they're in his hotel room. The tension is suffocating. You can feel Anna's confusion and Christian's barely controlled desire. When he warns her to "stay away from me, I'm not the man for you," you know she's going to do the exact opposite. The contract introduction in Chapter 4 changes everything. This isn't just romance anymore, it's negotiation, power exchange, sexual education, wrapped in luxury and danger. Anna discovers Christian wants her to be his submissive, complete with rules, punishments, and rewards. The innocent college student is being offered a crash course in sexual domination by Seattle's most eligible bachelor. What makes this absolutely addictive is Anna's internal conflict. She's terrified but fascinated, repulsed but attracted. James captures that moment when you're offered something you've never imagined but can't stop thinking about. The holy cow and inner goddess repetitions that critics mocked actually work here. They show a mind completely overwhelmed by new experiences. The teacher. Chapters 6 tough. These middle chapters are where James transforms from romance novelist into something approaching cultural anthropologist. Anna's education isn't just about sex, it's about power, desire, and discovering parts of yourself you didn't know existed. The playroom revelation is genuinely shocking. Christian leads Anna into his red room of pain, and suddenly we're in territory mainstream fiction had never explored. Whips, chains, restraints, contracts governing every aspect of their interaction. For readers who'd never encountered BDSM, this was like discovering an entirely different world of human sexuality. But James does something brilliant here. She makes Anna our proxy. Every question Anna asks, every boundary she explores, every hesitation she feels mirrors the reader's journey. When Anna says, "I don't think I can do this," millions of readers are thinking the same thing. while desperately wanting to know what happens next. The helicopter ride to his Escala penthouse isn't just luxury porn. It's metaphor for Anna being lifted into a world she never imagined. The Charlie Tango helicopter becomes symbol of Christian's ability to literally elevate her above ordinary experience. When they make love for the first time, it's not just Anna losing her virginity, it's her crossing into an adult world of complexity and desire. Chapter 8's email exchanges reveal James's masterstroke, showing intimacy through technology. Their back-and-forth emails let us see both characters' personalities more clearly than dialogue ever could. Christian's formal, controlling tone contrasts with Anna's natural, questioning voice. These exchanges build anticipation better than any physical encounter could. The graduation dinner scene in Chapter 9 cranks the tension to breaking point. Christian meets Anna's mother, and the contrast is stark. Innocent family life versus the dark sexuality Anna's discovering. When Christian tells Anna's mother that Anna is very special, the double meaning is delicious and terrifying. By Chapter 12, Anna has experienced things she never imagined, but she's also starting to understand the cost. Christian's need for control extends far beyond the bedroom. He's tracking her phone, buying her a car, interfering with her life choices. The luxury comes with strings attached, and those strings are getting tighter. The final act is where everything crashes together with devastating emotional impact. Anna realizes she's falling in love with a man who claims he's incapable of love, while Christian discovers that his carefully controlled world is being destroyed by genuine feelings he can't manage. The ideal moment comes when Anna asks Christian to show her how much pain he can inflict. It's not curiosity anymore, it's a test. She needs to understand what she's really signing up for, whether she can handle his darkest needs. What happens next is genuinely disturbing and heartbreaking. Christian beats her with a belt, and Anna finally understands the reality behind the contract and luxury. This isn't just kinky fun, this is a damaged man who finds sexual satisfaction in causing pain. And Anna realizes she can't be what he needs, and he can't be what she needs. Everything falls apart. The breakup is devastating because by this point, readers are invested in both characters. Anna isn't just rejecting BDSM, she's rejecting a man she loves because she finally understands he can't love her back the way she needs. Christian isn't just losing a submissive, he's losing the first person who made him feel truly alive. James ends the book with both characters destroyed. Anna is back in her ordinary life, but now she knows what she's missing. Christian is alone with his wealth and control, but for the first time, none of it satisfies him. It's a cliffhanger that left millions of readers desperate for the next book. The emotional manipulation is masterful. Just when you think Anna should run away from this dangerous man, James shows you his vulnerability. Just when you think Christian is irredeemable, she reveals the childhood trauma that created his needs. Neither character is purely victim or villain, which makes their separation genuinely tragic. Here's what makes the 50 Shades story absolutely incredible. E.L. James was a London TV executive and mother who wrote Twilight fanfiction as hobby. Her Master of the Universe stories, featuring adult Edward and Bella exploring BDSM, gained massive online following among women desperate for explicit content written by women for women. Traditional publishing had completely dismissed explicit romance as unmarketable to mainstream audiences. They were catastrophically wrong. When James changed character names and self-published, women didn't want sanitized sexuality. They wanted it celebrated, explored, dominated by billionaire CEOs in helicopters. The fanfiction origins explain both the book's massive appeal and its critical savaging. Fanfiction forgives repetitive writing and clunky dialogue for emotional payoff and fantasy fulfillment. When these elements appeared in published form, literary critics were merciless, but readers didn't care about prose quality. They cared about finally seeing their fantasies represented. Social media created the perfect storm. Women shared the book through Facebook posts, blog reviews, private group discussions. The grey cover became instantly recognizable. E-readers provided privacy, letting women consume explicit content without judgment. Amazon's algorithms amplified everything. The mommy porn label actually helped by giving permission to read explicit content, framing it as something other mothers were doing. Book clubs analyzing literary fiction suddenly discussed BDSM. Traditional media's condescending coverage mocking suburban mums backfired, motivating more readers to discover what the fuss was about. The reader response reveals one of literature's most dramatic opinion splits ever. Goodreads shows 4.4 rating from 1.5 million ratings, but individual reviews tell a story of absolute polarization, revealing deeper cultural tensions. These positive reviews focus on emotional journey over literary quality. Readers praise Anna's growth from innocent student to confident woman, celebrate Christian's evolution from damaged controller to someone capable of love. Wealth fantasy gets equal attention. Luxury lifestyle porn proves as addictive as sexual content. One-star reviews are equally passionate but completely different. Critics, savage repetitive writing, particularly Anna's constant inner goddess and subconscious references. They attack unrealistic dialogue and thin plot. Most seriously, they argue Christian's behavior represents abuse disguised as romance. The generational divide is striking. Readers over 35 focus on relationship dynamics and sexual awakening, often mentioning escapism from daily responsibilities. Younger readers criticize gender dynamics and Anna's apparent passivity, viewing the relationship through contemporary feminist lens. International reviews revealed cultural reception differences. Europeans accepted sexual content but criticized writing quality equally. Religious communities attempted bans, creating additional controversy and publicity. In some markets, success sparked broader conversations about sexual liberation and women's rights. The most interesting reviews come from simultaneously critical and appreciative readers. Terrible writing, amazing experience became common sentiment. These nuanced responses suggest traditional literary criticism misses the point when evaluating fantasy fulfillment literature. No aspect sparked more heated debate than feminist implications. The book became lightning rod, revealing deep divisions within feminist thought about female sexuality, choice, and empowerment. Empowerment supporters argue Anna actively chooses BDSM exploration and transforms her relationship with Christian on her terms. She negotiates boundaries, refuses activities, ultimately gets Christian to abandon his lifestyle for traditional romance. Her sexual awakening is positive and transformative. Sex-positive feminists celebrated bringing explicit content into mainstream discourse. Before 50 Shades, women's sexual fantasies were marginalized. Success demonstrated women deserved sexual content for their pleasure, not male gaze. However, critics raised serious concerns about gender dynamics. Christian's controlling behavior, monitoring Anna's location, controlling career choices, buying gifts without consent, normalizes abuse. Wealth and charm don't eliminate fundamental control problems. The power imbalance troubled many. Wealthy, experienced man initiating virgin into his preferred lifestyle. Critics worried about messages to younger readers who might not distinguish fantasy from healthy relationship models. Choice feminism debate emerged strongly. Some argued individual choice, including submission fantasies, should be respected without judgment. Others contended choices don't exist in vacuums, and celebrating submission reinforces patriarchal structures. Many feminist critics acknowledged response complexity, admitting to enjoying the book while intellectually disagreeing. This revealed how fantasy and political belief don't always align, even for thoughtful readers. The BDSM content made 50 Shades infamous, but let's separate reality from perception. The elements are relatively mild: bondage, spanking, toys, but not extreme edge play critics described. Shocked mainstream audiences were seeing any BDSM presented as romantic. Real BDSM practitioners had different concerns. The book misrepresented their practices, emphasizing pain over trust and communication. Healthy dom-sub relationships require extensive negotiation and mutual respect, present in the book but overshadowed by wealth fantasy. Cultural impact was massive and immediate. Sex toy sales skyrocketed. BDSM education classes saw unprecedented enrollment. Whether accurate or not, it sparked curiosity and exploration among millions who'd never considered alternative sexuality. More significantly, it opened mainstream conversations about female sexuality previously taboo. Women discussed preferences openly, questioned relationship dynamics, explored acknowledged fantasies. The shame around female sexual desire significantly decreased. Part 3. The legacy that won't die. 50 Shades represents a seismic shift in how books become bestsellers. This wasn't traditional publishing, it was grassroots revolution, catching the industry completely off guard. Success began in fan fiction communities where readers shared through forums and social media. When James self-published, her fan base became evangelists, active promoters sharing through Facebook, blogs, personal recommendations. The grey cover became a cultural symbol. E-readers were crucial, providing privacy for explicit content consumption. Digital reading removed barriers previously limiting erotic fiction to specialty stores. Amazon's algorithms amplified effects exponentially. Publishing houses scrambled to replicate success, launching erotic romance imprints and signing similar authors. The 50 Shades effect changed acquisition strategies, marketing approaches, cover design industry-wide. Publishers realized they'd ignored massively profitable demographics. Success highlighted reader reviews over professional criticism. While critics panned writing, Amazon and Goodreads reviews drove sales. People trusted reader experiences over expert opinions for fantasy fulfillment literature. 8 years later, impact continues reverberating. Publishing industry underwent permanent changes. Erotic romance became legitimate, profitable category. Stigma around explicit sexual content dramatically decreased. Authors began publishing under real names instead of hiding erotic writing. Studies found increases in couples trying new activities, seeking relationship counseling for intimacy improvements, reporting greater sexual communication satisfaction. Whether directly caused by the book or broader cultural shifts, these represent significant social evolution. Female sexuality conversations fundamentally shifted. Previously taboo topics became acceptable discussion. Women gained vocabulary and permission to discuss desires that had been stigmatized. The franchise proved female-driven erotic content could be mainstream entertainment. Educational impact was mixed, sparked BDSM education interest, but also dangerous experimentation by uninformed people. The kink community developed resources specifically addressing book misconceptions. After examining every angle, writing, characters, cultural impact, controversies, lasting changes. What's the verdict on 50 Shades of Grey? This book defies simple judgment because it succeeded and failed simultaneously on different levels. As literature, it has obvious flaws critics rightfully identified: repetitive prose, clunky dialogue, simple plot. If you're reading for literary artistry, you'll be disappointed. But as cultural phenomenon and fantasy fulfillment, it succeeded beyond imagination. Gave millions of women permission to explore desires they'd never acknowledged, sparked relationship-improving conversations, challenged societal attitudes toward female sexuality in lasting ways. The feminist debates continue because they reflect genuine complexities about choice, empowerment, and fantasy in an unequal world. There's no simple answer whether it helps or harms women, because different women had vastly different experiences. What's undeniable, 50 Shades changed everything. Proved women's sexual desires could drive mainstream success, demonstrated grassroots digital marketing power, forced publishing to reconsider ignored demographics, made explicit sexual content socially acceptable in unprecedented ways. Whether you loved it, hated it, or never read it, you've been affected by its cultural impact. The books that followed, conversations it enabled, social changes it catalyzed, touch everyone in our sexually evolving culture. The most honest assessment, 50 Shades was exactly the book our culture needed at exactly the right moment, even if it wasn't the book we deserved from literary perspective. Sometimes, cultural significance matters more than artistic achievement. Here's what nobody wants to admit. This book scared people because it revealed how hungry women were for sexual content that centered their pleasure. The massive success exposed how thoroughly traditional media had failed to serve female desire. The backlash wasn't really about bad writing, it was about discomfort with female sexuality finally being mainstream profitable. Next time on Reader's Mind, we're taking on the 50 Shades Darker, where E.L. James doubled down on everything that made the first book controversial while attempting to address the critics. Did she succeed in creating a worthy sequel? Or did she prove that lightning doesn't strike twice? The answer will divide you just like the original. The question that haunts every analysis of this book: in a world where women's sexuality is still stigmatized and misunderstood, was 50 Shades a step forward or backward? Maybe that's wrong question. Maybe the right question is, what does its massive success tell us about desires mainstream culture still struggles to acknowledge? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did you love it, hate it, or find yourself somewhere in between? And more importantly, do you think the cultural impact justified the literary flaws? The debate continues, and Reader's Mind wants to hear from you.